Probably screwed up here. There we go, we'll try cleaning this. Anyway, probably screwed up here. For some reason this thinks I should be vertical, and I really, it'd be better before YouTube messed with the settings, to be honest. Stuart, David, g'day. But we will live with it, I guess. It's less than ideal. Don't know, we're there anyway. Fridge, g'day. Not that impressed about the whole vertical orientation thing, but you're going to have to live with that because I set it when I scheduled the stream, but I don't, for some reason it's unset itself. Hey James, I still got, yeah, I don't know about that. It is a bit average. We'll try light even. So, what's happening, everyone? It's all up to you because I've done nothing. I rode off Sunday and that was my only day off. I did some laundry and maybe a few very, very minuscule chores around the place. Had a spill on the carpet in here and we sorted that out. I didn't do very much. Fridge rewired a truck or made it so no one else could. David's been chasing watermelons, which is awesome. Stuart's been out for tea. Hey, Mark. I'm not really impressed about this whole like vertical orientation thing. Sorry guys. Let's try a different vise. Why is that thought that black and white or sepia would be a thing? I don't know. Hi Aid, good to see you. I think we're back in colour, aren't we? Probably. That'll be a probably. I don't really think that this vise is the answer either. We need to fix this, but I never ever think of it until I walk in, and that's something I could have done quite easily this last weekend, and I never. So, apologies everyone. We're going back where we started. There we go. I think we got the colour back on. So, the things that we're going to focus on, the things that we should have done, all right? Not the things that we're going to do, or things that we did do. I've been at work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday still to go, and then I've got Christmas Day and Christmas Eve and Boxing Day off, I think. And then I've got like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday or something. Saturday. Anyway, that's how that is. I'm not even convinced that after the tax man gets me it's going to be good money, but anyway, we'll get there. Now, things going on that should be going on. One is we've got this, right? I think you can even see that on that white background. That probably was a bad idea. This is a brush out of a 32 volt dynamo, an old one. I think that white's blowing us out, isn't it? Yeah, it's a brush. It's worn right down. You see there's the profile of the armature, but there's not much left and there's no spring tension on it to make it work. Now, we got some of these, which are all we could get out of China, and mate got these. So, theoretically they're good, but they're way too big, so we've got to cut them down. Now, I've talked to a few people. Stuart says just use a hacksaw and cut them down, file them up, which is probably good enough. They need a fair bit off here, this way, and they need a fair bit off this way. This should be the full length, like it should be the full length up here, but it needs to only be that length or that width, and that we have a look here, it needs to be only sort of that depth, so it's a bit hard to really look at. There we go. So it needs that much off, a bit off each side probably, I think. So whether I set them up and machine them, which would probably work if we can hold them some way, or whether I just file them up to match and make a mess everywhere, I don't know. But that's a job. And then they need some sort of a radius on here, I think, which probably is going to bed in. As everyone says, just run it until it stops being noisy, and then start measuring the voltage. And that's probably good enough, because setting this off to bore it off centre a bit in a 2-inch or 3-inch or something bore is, while it's doable, it's probably asking for trouble too. Don't know. So anyway, I might get them down the side so they slide in, and we're just going to put them in and run them until they sort of meet, run. That's a job that we've got to do. We've got 4 of them. Onto that. Stuart's the expert on that one, and he sort of had a bit of a word or two about it. So, other issue we've got is the sawmill. We've got a saw bench. We've got a Robertson saw bench, which is quite a nice thing, except it hasn't got a shaft in it now. I've got a shaft, and the shaft's all set up to go in it. The pulleys are all bored, the flanges are all right, the threads are all right on the end. It's got a new shaft. It used to be 2 3/4 inch, which is about 68 mil, something like that. Is that right? 67, 68 inch mil, something like that. It used to, the old one. Aha, Stuart, we'll try that. Sounds like a better deal. It doesn't need much out of it, to be honest, that way. And the new shaft's 70 mil, peeled, polished, ground anyway. 69.85. It probably wasn't 6 3/4. It was probably 6 5/8 or something. It was quite a bit dear, quite a bit under it anyway. We cut 3 mil under it, enough to clean up, we thought. So I've got a 70 mil shaft. Hey, Boss Brothers, yeah. And that's all very well, but we've still got to line and bore the bearings out. And you've seen the bearings, they're big cast brass things, bronze things. And they need to clean up, basically. And I think we can set them all up so that a tool at 69mm will probably, like a boring bar at 69mm, will clean everything up. And then we just got to finish it. Hey, Kimber, congrats on getting the mill going. So, this has been a bit of a contention because you could do them off the machine, and that's a bit of a problem because you've got to make some sort of a jig to hold them all down, and then you've got to hope they line up, and you've got to shim them to match and all that sort of stuff, which sounds like a lot of hard work. And no matter how we do it, whether we do it between centres on my mate's big lathe, still got to make a jig to hold it, or whether we do it with a horizontal bore or a horizontal attachment on a Bridgeport style mill, and still got to make a steady or something to hold it, or whether we do them on HBM, they're still got to sort of line up, and you've got to have a decent boring bar and all that stuff. So there was some talk of a portable line boring machine being available for sale, and while that'd be very nice, it's also fairly expensive, and it's sort of a fairly big purchase for 1 or 3 times probably that we're ever going to use it. So it doesn't look like that might eventuate. We'll see, but it probably won't. So, just got 5 more viewers. That's awesome. This is what I've got in mind anyway. Right, I'm going to do that this way. Right. The saw bench anyway has got a recess in here, and it's out on this end. It's got a bearing block like set on an outrigger on the side of it, and there's a gap in the middle, and there's a piece of angle or a piece of cast iron that runs along here, which is basically where the saw runs. Now the bearing blocks go in here, right, and the same in here, and the shaft goes between, and there's a flat belt pulley in here somewhere, right, big flat belt pulley on this shaft, and the flange is on here, and the saw goes around here. So basically this goes against to the saw bent, to the engine, and then this spans, and then there's a plate on top of here, and a cover plate on top of here, and this is your bed basically. So that's what we need, is to bore this bearing here and this bearing here in line, so we can put a 70mm shaft through without too much wobble. Although I don't know how good it's really even got to be, because there's a bit of weight in it, and I don't think it's going to shake up and down too much, but it doesn't want to move backwards and forwards. Had some rain down there, which is very good. I hope the tanks fill up. So that's the theory. Now, looking at the side, without all the rest of the bench, right, there's a gap here in the bench for the saw, and the saw goes in here, and then there's another gap, and then an outrigger bearings out here, which bolts across here with a couple of big bolts in it, and a bronze bush. This one here has a bearing that bolts down through the bed here, right, with a bronze bush on it as well. We got that. The shaft goes between this one and this one. And then the pulley goes in here. That's how that works. Now, what I thought to do was to get, because these have got to be 70mm, if we've got a bit of 50mm bright shaft or something, just a bit of 50mm shaft, and ran all the way through here. And then we found a self-aligning bearing 50mm plumber block, or two of them, and put on the shaft and set one up out here somehow off these two bolts probably, with it's got a sort of an outrigger down here. You make a stand off here so that it's nice and solid, just weld something. You can't see that. It's got an outrigger down here, and you weld something in here to keep it, and then just bolt it on there so it doesn't move, with some oversized holes, and put the plumber block on the outside here. We could do the same with this one. We could run a bit angle down here and put another plumber block in here and a shaft between them with a bit of extra length in it. Then we could put belt pulley on the middle. This is hardly big enough here. Sorry, guys. We could put a belt pulley in the middle and cross drill the bit of shaft with a grub screw at 90 degrees and put a bit of high-speed steel in it. And then, bear with me here, probably a bit of all thread here with a nut welded on it and another nut welded on there to put a spanner on, and the same similar on this end, and we could feed it. We could feed that through, running it off the steam engine, and line bore this one, then do the other one the other way, because there's limited clearance here. So if we put a tool in there and run it through, I think we could get them pretty well in line and pretty nice. That sounds like a lot of messing around. But it's probably cheaper than getting someone to come out and do them and have them mess around for a day and do similar sort of thing. And probably cheaper than buying a machine to do the job and then discovering you've got to mess around and put some sort of a mounting on each end to do it. And have it hang out here, and then you have a bit of bow and a long bore and bar and all that sort of stuff you've got to compensate for. Whereas if you just put a pulley on here, we could run it off the steam engine or off something else. There's plenty of engines around. And basically a big round piece of high-speed steel we could feed through there and take a cut. It might take all day to cut it once we've got it set up, but it's probably doable. Does anyone have any thoughts on this? The shaft's about 1400 long, something like that. Probably going to be cheaper than the beer and the pizza. That's right. Or the roast lamb or whatever we have. Couple of 50mm bearing blocks like this. Off the Fergie, yeah, absolutely. The Fergie would do the job, yeah. The Fergie's probably the absolute answer for that, to be honest. That solves that problem. Because we only have to run a 2-inch belt, and it can be quite a bit shorter belt. So you've got a bit more travel with a 2-inch belt. Then, when this is done, we've got a bit of 2-inch shaft that we could either, with hole, 16 inches from one end and 16 inches from the other end, and probably we could put it in the shelf for something else, or we could keep it, or we could use it for something else, or whatever. Or we've got a line bearing system if we ever got to bore the bearings in a portable engine or a steam engine or something like that. We're halfway there, you know. And it's only brass, And we're only taking a couple of mil out, so we do it in 3 or 4 cuts if we've got to, or even 5 or 6 cuts. But if you set this up so that these had sort of bolts that are a bit undersized to the holes or oversized holes, then you could set the tool up on each end of this. I'll set the tool up on this end of the bearing and this end of the bearing so that it's central, the bar's central, and then do the same on the inside to get the bearings sort of parallel. And then all you've got to do is set the thing in motion pretty slow and feed it through. Until you're through the other side, and then you run a bottle brush hand or something through it just to clean it up. So that's probably at this point the cheapest and easiest way to do this. I am suspicious that if we do get a line boring machine or someone out to do it, they're going to have to spend half a day with a welder and a heap of bits of scrap steel making it something for it to clamp to anyway. And on this bench, on this table here, all we need to do is put a bit of angle on it and a couple of G clamps. I mean, that's probably all it needs, a couple of F clamps and big solid ones. And give it a tap with a hammer backwards and forwards this way and make oversized holes here so that we can just slide it up and down on, say, 1/2 inch holes and 3/8 bolts so we can get a bit enough travel to move it. And when you get it somewhere near, you just have it on a plate and just tack the bit on the angle line there on top. And then you can fine adjust it on the bolt. And you can do the same with this end. We run a couple of bits of flat out and a bit of plate down here and there's some sort of an outrigger to support it to stop the vibration. A big clamp on it, a G clamp or a hose clamp or something around there. Hold that in place and just a bolt just on the bolts on top. Make sure everything's as parallel as possible, yeah. And with self-aligning bearings, we've got a bit of go, a bit of loose, you know. We've got 10 degrees out of line either way before it's really an issue. And basically, once you put the boring bar in, you get these all lined up on the bar. Then we can set the bar, measure the bar to the table and get it somewhere to the right that way. And from the edge of the table back here and get it right this way. So I reckon 4-pound hammer and some bolts and some G clamps, I think you would adjust this and get it right. Probably a day to set it up and a day to bore it. And we're not paying for time. So that sounds like a wild idea, and I'm sure everyone's got feedback on that. But if anyone wants to come and do it a better way, they're very welcome to. But I imagine that that's sort of how it was done in the factory. And worst case scenario, if we go too big or they're too loose or we end up with a problem, we can mask up the shaft with a bit of carbon and pour some babbitt in it, I guess. So it's a bit of a job. Like, it's more than just a weekend probably, but I think if we got the boring bar, everything set up, then it wouldn't be as big a job to sit there one each end with the tractor running and feed the thing through the 8 inches. Hi, in Bangladesh. What we need is a couple of Bangladeshi gentlemen to come and show us how this sort of thing's done, because they probably got more inclination of how these things were made back in 1880 than we do at the moment. Anyway, that's the thought process behind that horror. I've been thinking about this for a week. Right? I'm going to buy a bit of shaft or find a bit of shaft somewhere. I'm going to go and buy or borrow a bit of 50. If anyone's got a bit of 50mm shaft about 2 metres long, I'd be totally down. We scrapped tons of it down at Dad's when we cleaned up. But anyway. And a couple of Chinese low-speed bearings will cost nothing, really. And a couple of... just a length of... look, even a length of 16mm all thread or something to feed it through would be good. Think of a better way of setting up a power feed on it so that it moves. Yeah, 50mm 1.968, something like that, yeah. The thing is, 50mm bearings are a lot cheaper than a 2-inch shaft, so probably both are available. And we'll find a bit of shaft first and buy the bearings to match. And they don't need keys or anything in them, you just sit them through, and as long as the thing runs in them, it'll feed through them. And put a bit of oil on it and polish the shaft if we have to, you know, so it does run through. Worst case scenario, we could set it up in someone's lathe here and put a centre in each end, or we could just do it in a drill press, or we could honestly just do it with a battery drill and nearly mark it good enough to feed it. Put a bit of point on the end of a bit of oil thread so that it actually locates nicely, and a bit of grease on it, or a bit of white lead or something, and run through it. And I don't think it would get anything hot or work anything very hard with a decent bit of 1/2-inch high-speed steel or something, or a bit of round high-speed steel, or broken end mill or something, carbide end mill, sharpened up. I think we could probably run through that pretty quick. Hey, Rustnox. Everyone go and check out Rustnox videos on making a set of quick change tool holders for his new lathe when you've done this. Good videos. Anyway, that's where I'm at. A round tool's better than a square tool because it's easy to put a hole in it. And all it needs is a grub screw to hold it tight. And honestly, I've probably got a box full of broken carbide that I could sharpen up before I went down there. The biggest problem with something like this is that I'm in Queensland, my workshop's in Queensland, and the machine's down in New South Wales, so it might take a couple of weekends to get it set up, but I think as long as we're making progress, those that are in possession of the machine will be happier. So I reckon we can get it done. So that's where we're at. And while I've been at work, I've been thinking a bit about this one. Get sorted. Get it going. No other real ideas how you would feed it or what you would do, but I think that's, if you wanted to drill the end of it out and put a nut on, weld a nut on it, then you'd probably put a piece of oil thread through it, and you could feed it all from one end instead of pushing it from one end and pulling it from the other end, which might be easier too. But yeah, I have to think about that. Could probably weld something on the end of the bit of shaft, but then it spins. Yeah, something that doesn't spin would be better. Anyway, that's what's happening. That's this week's wild idea. if anyone thinks of a better way of doing this, you could use a thrust bearing, but probably just a countersunk, like a centre drilled hole and a point on the bit of all threaded too. Honestly, the thing's got to go about 8 inches on each side. So if we did a boring bar this way and bored it this way, and then boring tool on this one and bored it this way back through. This horizontal's a pain in the. This vertical orientation's a pain. Bored it back through this way. Bored it back through this way. We've only got to move it 8 inches, and you can't put anything through here because there's a solid cast iron wall here. But on this end, we could do something. If there was something we could do to feed it from the middle, it'd be even better, but can't think of that. Hey, Frank. So, I think the first thing is to look around for length of shaft. Yeah, had a look around, haven't got a bit. I'll go to the scrappy or something and see what I can find. If I find a length of something that's reasonably straight at the scrappy, then we can certainly bore something with it. But I reckon it wants to be 50mm, probably in a 70mm hole for rigidity, so there's not much tool stick out, and it's not going whoop, 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 whoop as you turn it. And so that you've not got too much lash or anything when you're wherever you put the pulley, whether it's out on the end here or whether it's in the middle. I think you just put the pulley in the middle. And honestly, if you've got a 2-inch pulley and did the grub screw up a bit tight one way, or put a spot drill for the grub screw and did it up a bit tight one way, and it had 1/8 of an inch run out, it wouldn't hurt anything. I think that'd be fine. This all sounds a bit rough, but anyway, you're in awe. I can see everyone's absolutely in awe of a scheme like that. But they did more wild things out in the olden days. And some of the gear we do is sort of just from the olden days. However, if someone's in northern New South Wales and wants to come and have a meal and have fun with a steam engine for an afternoon and some beers and camp the night and is a reasonably nice person that we can hang with, and wants to come along and with the line borer and do it, very, very happy to let you do it. But the thing is, once this shaft's in, and we got the saw spinning, this saw bench is starting to look like it's actually going to cut some firewood, which is really nice. There's a few little things that need doing on it, but apart from that, that's what it needs. And if we get to this stage, then probably I'm going to get under it and put some fancy paint pinstripe on it, tidy it up and get it looking a bit nice, and start thinking about some power feed for it. And a trolley and all that stuff as rails. And anyway, what else happened? Oh, there's other stuff that happened. I'll be back. I'm back. Sorry guys, did you miss me? Talk amongst yourselves. I should have said talk amongst yourselves. That didn't happen. This is the other thing that happened. These aren't quite assembled yet. I meant to do that before live stream and then forgot all about it because I'm talking to Joe and stuff. But I've got 3 belts. Look at that. How good are they? Sorry about the bang. Fab did the keepers for me today and we finished them. So these are decent cowhide. It's pretty solid stuff. It's sort of raw finish with black on it. It's not a paint, and it's not like a tooled leather or anything. It's just ordinary plain leather with a couple of Chicago screws. If you don't know what Chicago screws are, they've got a screw on one end and a nut on the other end. They go together so we can get them apart. And some buckles and a keeper. So these are for the fowler. There's 3 of them, and these hold the water lifter hose in place so it doesn't fall off and we don't run over it as often. That's been a project that I've been doing for a little while. But they should be really good, I think. Pretty happy with them. Keepers are same leather. They're skived over and then glued and then stitched, so they're going to stay up. Decent hide glue, they're going to stay together forever. You want some oil on these probably, they might be a bit stiff. Might put some neat's foot or something in them. Even a bit of dubbing, something to soften them up a bit. But there's these are actually like bent wet and let dried out, so they're actually that shape even when they're not stitched up. And they've got aniline dye on them to make them all black, which saves us doing it later. So I've got 2 of them. 3 of them with this one. And 3 belts, which will hold the water lifter hose in. There's 2 to hold it together at the bottom and 1 to hold it together at the top. So that's another job that's finally done. They're only pretty short, but got holes punched in them. And they do up something like that, see? About that diameter around the hose. Hi, Mats. So pretty pleased that I've got them done, so they can go straight back on. They should be good. I'm going to put a bit of oil on them before I take them down. Could only get 2 brass buckles. I'm not even convinced that I think they're sort of solid brass. They may be plated, I don't know. You told me they were solid brass. I'm not feeling like they probably are because there's a bit of tarnish on them, which may or may not be. It probably is polished brass. It is brass tarnish probably. Right. And this one's got the original buckle on it, but we can change it out sometime if we get sick of it. But they'll be good enough. And that's another step towards being a concours roller. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, that's something we did. I've been doing them for a week or more, 2 weeks, on and off at work. Had to cut them all and finish the ends nicely and like bend them over and punch all the holes and the slots and all that sort of thing. And got them going, so pretty happy with that. Put a wristwatch on them. A Bell and Ross needs a strap, something like that. It's what supports it. But yeah, it's just to hold a hose on to stop it falling off. Should get some start time in the workshop this weekend because I've got a couple of days. I don't know if I'm going to actually do anything because I'm going to be exhausted, but I've got Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Got to work Boxing Day. And I sort of promised on Sunday that I'd go and help a mate shift if he needs it. So we'll see what happens there. If he does, we'll go and run a van load of stuff around. Joe's flat out making a new bearing head for the grinder. That's what's actually happening out in the workshop, and I think he may have thought the water coolant was a bit low and topped up the tank, or topped up the tube tray a bit, and then when it turned off it overflowed everywhere, so he's been out there vacuuming up coolant for an hour before live stream. No, I think he's on top of that, and he's got some blocks for that. It's sort of starting to look all right. So that's all right. But when he does, I think when that's going, I think I've talked him into machining this up, which is actually one of these for the launch part. So sorry guys, bump that. Gonna have to fix this. Sorry. Not eating enough, or suspenders, or belts. It's a crime against humanity. So when he's done, saw your query about coolant, Rusty. Don't have an answer for that, sorry. No answer for that one. Anyway, you've seen all the progress that happened on this block of aluminium. That's it. This week, nothing. Very little. Apart from that, I don't know if there's very much else to share, to be honest. Probably very little. Very little to share. No progress on any of these lamps at all. No progress on the little engine at all. Sorry guys. No progress on anything much, but there you go. All I've been is at work. Don't know if there's much else to add. What's everyone else up to? We've worked out what Russ Knox is up to. And James, I think he's working on a lathe. I'm messing with the lathe. What's Aid doing? What are you making, Aid? Give us a rundown what you're making. Tell us what your latest video is about. Matt has made a decent paddock stand for a bike. Looks like a good thing actually. Very excellent. A pretty useful thing. I saw that on Discord actually. I didn't see a lot more on Discord, but I did see that. Discord's a bit quiet at the moment. I think everyone's either making stuff or sick of it or moved on to something else or whatever. But I don't spend as much time there as I should either, which is a bit of a pain. Only because there isn't much time. That's all there is. What else? Got a lot of brass to polish if anyone's interested in doing it. I'm taking offers on that one. And yeah, I've got to put a pulley on a concrete mixer down at Fridges. That's another job that I've got to do. Pulley's bored, and it's pretty close. I was just going to run a reamer through it, and then I realised the adjustable reamer down there, so it'll fit it. Then it's got a keyway in it, so you can't put an adjustable reamer in it because it won't cut. So I've got a 7/8 spiral flute machine reamer. I think probably that's got enough land on it and enough taper on the front, and there's enough. The hole's not small enough to be a problem, and might just run that through with the shifter and say that'll do it, and put it together because it's only got a grub screw on a flat. Some great stuff on Ollie's advent calendar. Aids on the mini lathe. Well, it's all pretty exciting. James says 21 degrees Fahrenheit there. And he thinks that's cold. It's still about, what does the thermometer say? Doesn't say, but I reckon it's about 28 or something in here. Something like that. So 28 Celsius, so pretty warm here. We're expecting storms at the end of the week, but I don't know if that's going to eventuate or what. Hey Anne, good to see you. How's that car build going? -6 in millimetres. Yeah, that's right. I don't know if I've got a whole lot more to share, to be honest. I've sort of covered a lot of bases. It's all the bits for the launch gearboxes sitting in a little box there or on the bench here in place in bits waiting for some work. Probably should do those brushes. Dreamsteam, good day. Good to see you. Hope Germany's all right. Yeah, that's all I've done, and that's kind of it. We've actually done all right to fill up 50 minutes of sort of theoretical ideas and concepts, because that's all it is, because we haven't actually done any. If the people were better. I know some great Germans, really nice people. Sort of thinking I'm probably going to go into, if anyone's into puppy play, get in touch, because I can make some interesting accessories. Just saying, just putting that out there as, you know, discretion guaranteed and all that sort of stuff. I won't read the order list on live stream, probably. This one's for you, Fridge. And this one's for Stuart. Just say woof if you confirm your order. Yeah. We can put these together. I've got a screwdriver. I'm not sure where that came from. So there's Chicago screws. See, they've got a nut in the here in a tube. Holds that together. And put this over with the stitching at the back. See there. Slide these over and put these two screws back in. You might put a bit of Loctite on so they don't fall apart on a rough old machine. Just do this one up. So there's another one together. All right. What will we be eating for Christmas Day? That's interesting. Probably not much, actually, to be honest. To sort of straighten terms, times and things here. I haven't really done a lot of Christmas shopping. Haven't got anything put away. We'll see. Hopefully things come together and we'll find something to eat at some point during the weekend, but we'll see. It's not really that terrible. There we go. It's another one put together. Probably go down the fridges for dinner, but I won't. I sort of really won't be feeling much like driving anywhere, so I'm probably just going to come home and sit with all my friends and have takeaway pizza. Christmas really doesn't mean a lot. Yeah, don't know what we're going to eat today, let alone for Christmas. That's right. Honestly, don't know what's happening there. I haven't had any invitations or anything else, but that's not a terrible thing. That's really quite a good thing. Banned from the shed Christmas Day. I don't know how you do that. Yeah. Drink everyone under the table, David. That's absolutely. And if you need an excuse, oh crap. If you need an excuse, sorry guys. We're very, very happy to take that on board. And take full responsibility for that. Anyone, that is. If you're looking for an excuse for a big day, drink to our health. Now you all sound like raging alcoholics. I'm sure you're not. Christmas spirit is 110 proof. That's exactly right. I'm very unlikely to have anything to drink on Christmas Day. I've got to work Boxing Day fairly early and be a little bit awake. So, I'm not saying Christmas is any different to any other day, to be honest. Anyway, I think we've probably nearly let this run its course as far as we possibly can. Appreciate you all tuning in. I've got 3 leather belts finished, which is an accomplishment, I think. There's 1, 2, and 3. That's done. And be kind to each other. A great Christmas. Everyone have an amazing Christmas, whatever you do, whatever your thing is. If it's time in the workshop or whether it's time at the bar or time catching up with some sleep or whatever you're going to do. Enjoy it. I'm probably Christmas Eve going to give a mate a hand to move some stuff if I get a chance. And Christmas Day, I'm probably going to spend some time in the workshop. Might have a go at starting on these brushes for this dynamo. And we'll have a talk to you all next week. But appreciate you all tuning in. It's really good to catch up with you. It's good to catch up with friends during the week. It's awesome. Keep the videos coming, guys. The ones that I've seen are awesome. I did spend a lot of Sunday actually watching YouTube, which is not my normal thing, but I did it. I'm a little bit caught up with everyone's projects, I think. So be kind to each other, and I'll see you next time. I'm out.